Hey there! This is Maddox Productions 1, and it's been a while since I've made a Doctor Who opinion think piece for this channel. I've been a bit busy over the past couple of months working on projects for the Whoniversals, the collaborative Doctor Who channel with a few other friends of mine. But don't worry, I've not neglected y'all. I've decided to come back to make this interesting video. Inspired by said Whoniversal friends, because they themselves have done their own versions of this video, and I felt like doing it myself. The 100 Doctor Who episodes tag. I have not been tagged for this, I just decided to tag myself because I can do that. Shush. Basically, imagine there is this storage facility, an archive if you will, that has every single Doctor Who episode ever made within it. And that whole missing episode malarkey, that doesn't count here, they're all restored, every single episode ever made. Shada is complete in all 6 episodes. Imagine this utopian scenario, basically. But the only copies to exist are within this building. And this building catches on fire. And you only have time to rescue 100 individual episodes. Which ones do you choose to save? Now, of course, every individual episode only has like 1 copy, so if any of y'all think you can just rescue Heaven Sent 100 times, no. It's 100 individual episodes, and to make that clear, if you rescued Rose, that would count as 1 episode. If you decided to rescue all of An Unearthly Child, that would count as 4. But of course you can cherry pick the serials if you want, like if you want to pick just episode 2 of a certain Classic Who story. Whatever. Doesn't matter how you go about it, it's just 100 episodes. And bear in mind, the ones you decide to pass on, you will never see them again. You will only have these 100 forever. There's going to be some tough cuts here, but I'm up for the challenge. Even if it's completely arbitrary and made up, but shut up, pretend there's stakes here. So, if I can only save 100 individual Doctor Who episodes, my first priority will be to save my favourite story from each Doctor's era. Now, if any of y'all have seen my top 10 stories for each Doctor's lists, then the first dozen choices won't really shock you, but let's go through them anyway. For the first Doctor, it's The Daleks Master Plan. The best 60s Dalek story, a grandiose, utterly devastating epic from start to finish, and it's a story which genuinely leaves you thinking for hours after it's over. Now, that would ordinarily eat up 12 episodes, which is already quite a beefy inclusion, but I would like to specify that I don't want to include The Feast of Stephen because it's terrible. And it has virtually no relation to the rest of the story anyway, so whatever. So that's 11 episodes. My choice for the second Doctor? Only my favourite Doctor Who story of all time. Tomb of the Cybermen is an utter classic, utterly spellbinding, and the best depiction of the Cybermen we've ever had. An incredible opener to Season 5, and spoilers, this isn't the last time we'll be talking about Season 5 in this video. For the third Doctor era, Frontier in Space, a highly underrated space opera that has both Joe Grant and Roger Delgado's Master at their absolute best, so yeah. And speaking of characters at their best, for the 4th Doctor era, it's the Seeds of Doom, because the 4th Doctor's at peak action hero, Sarah Jane Smith is at peak awesomeness, and both Harrison Chase and the Krynoid are 2 of the most intimidating villains Doctor Who has ever had. So for the 5th Doctor's era, I'm gonna have to be biased and go for my first ever Classic Who story. Which is also coincidentally my favourite story of the era anyway, so you know, it checks out. Resurrection of the Daleks, an utter bloodbath of a story, peak Davros and Dalek action in this one, and one of the most emotional companion departures in all of Doctor Who. Oh, and by the way, Resurrection of the Daleks counts as a 2-parter because that's how it was broadcast. Anyway, now for the 6th Doctor's era, you'd think I'd go for Vengeance on Varos, considering I listed it as my favourite story of the era in my worst to best video on him. But honestly, I'm going to throw in a curveball. I'm going to go for Mark of the Rani, purely because I want Anthony Ainley's Master in there, and it's also more light-hearted than some of the entries I've had on this list so far. So yeah, 7th Doctor's era is Remembrance of the Daleks, how could it not be? And I'm just compelled to include the TV movie because the 8th Doctor's so charming I could never pass on him. The 9th Doctor gets Dalek, just an utterly stunning action fest. Wow, I've already included a bunch of Dalek stories, haven't I? And it's easily the most compelling the Time War angst has ever been. The 10th Doctor he gets Midnight. One of the scariest and most claustrophobic pieces of entertainment I have ever seen, showcasing the darker impulses of humanity. It's absolutely stunning. So, I'm not a fan of the 11th Doctor's era by any stretch, but it wouldn't be fair to disclude him. So, let's go for Amy's Choice. Just an utterly stunning character piece, and the Dream Lord is a great villain. And for the 12th Doctor, it can only be Wild Enough in Time the Doctor Falls. It has Bill Potts, some great body horror with the Cybermen, and it just ends an era that I was otherwise lukewarm about on an extremely lovely note. And for the 13th Doctor, it's Praxius, because the meme is real. Come on son, flame shields down, there's a good lad. So that currently brings our total up to 42. But no, I'm not including 42 in this list. But now it's time to tackle some more specific choices. For example, even though I have my favourite First Doctor story in there, I still need a historical, considering they more closely capture the essence of the era. But what tone do I go for? Dramatic or comedic? Well, why not both? Because I'm including both the Aztecs and the Romans here. One is a moving character piece about the fixed nature of time, and in the other the Doctor accidentally inspires Nero to burn down Rome, and I just have to include that. So that makes 50. 50 more to go. I haven't included a unit story yet, and it would simply be wrong to go without the Brigadier, so how about Spearhead from Space? This also covers a post-regeneration story as well, and you can't go wrong with Liz Shaw and Autons, so... By the way, Leela is my favourite companion of all time, and I must include a story with her, so how about her best one? Horror of Fang Rock. Spooky, moody, perfect Halloween viewing if I'm honest. And speaking of favourites, going back to my favourite Doctor, how about The Mind Robber? Pure, boundless creativity, and I need a Zoe story, so here we are. Now I feel like I've been neglecting New Who a little bit here, so how about a couple of two-parters? Firstly, the Doctor meeting literal Satan, the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit, stellar Lovecraftian horror and the best representative from Series 2. And additionally, Human Nature and the Family of Blood, the best story from Series 3, really moving character piece, and Martha Jones is at her best. Oh, and speaking of modern companions at their best, it would simply be wrong if I didn't include Turn Left. Phenomenal story exploring the ripple effect and, devastating in every way. Now, you know how I mentioned Season 5 earlier, and you're probably thinking, wow Will, there's significantly less Second Doctor here than I expected. Well, everyone budge up a bit because I am including The Enemy of the World, The Web of Fear, and Fury from the Deep. My favourite trilogy of stories in all of Doctor Who. They are sublime in every way. I love the Second Doctor in them. Victoria is sublime in them. Both The Web of Fear and Fury from the Deep are endlessly atmospheric, and The Enemy of the World is a great political espionage. And I'm not even done with the Second Doctor yet, because Power of the Daleks is here as well. Do I have too many Dalek stories on this list? Maybe, but I don't care, because this is phenomenal. And I don't think the Daleks have ever been more psychologically intimidating. Woo! That brings the subtotal up to 92 so far. 8 slots left. What else am I going to save? I might surprise you. Do you know what I think is a highly underrated Doctor Who species? The Ice Warriors. And I want to include an episode with them, so I'm going for Empress of Mars. I just need more 12th Doctor and Bill shenanigans, and this is very comfy. And speaking of comfy, one of the wittiest Doctor Who stories ever made, City of Death. I need something with Romana, and what better choice is there? Scaroth is a pretty great villain, Paris looks lovely, and it's a good timey-wimey story. So now, 3 more episode slots. What am I going for? The Happiness Patrol. Season 25 is my perfect balance for the 7th Doctor, and this melancholy scenario suits him perfectly. Ace is great in it, and the Candyman is a laugh. So yeah, that's the 100 episodes I would save in this made-up scenario. There were some tough cuts here, but no looking back. Anyway, it's time to tag people, I guess. I'm bad at this. But anyway, Genesis of Androzani, and Adam Martin, and Lord Slar, you too. And you know what? Maybe even the Watcher is Bay. Y'all do this, boys. Thank y'all for watching, oh humble viewers, and I'll see you soon. Sometime. Dunno when. We'll see. I'm disorganized.